Pinny is a tiny wooden doll, no taller than a pin. She lives on a shelf in a little china house, all white and shiny. Victor is a wooden sailor in a painted blue sailor suit. He sails his boat near the little china house. The children who play in the sitting room are called Tom and Joe. One morning, the shelf was filled with Joe's birthday cards. Victor tried to open one of the cards to read the message. It fell over, knocking all the other cards off the shelf. Victor tried to catch Pinny, but she fell off too. She landed in the fireplace. Then Victor saw Tom come in with a brush and dustpan to sweep up. Pinny would be swept up too. Then Victor did something very brave. He jumped right off the shelf. He landed in the dustpan beside Pinny, just as she was being swept up with the ashes. Tom emptied them outside under the hedge with all the leaves and dusty rubbish. It was cold. Snow began to fall. Victor and Pinny looked around for a place to shelter. All they could see was a snail. Victor knocked on the shell. "Is anybody home?" he asked. But the shell was empty, so they lifted it up and crawled inside. Soon the trees and all the garden were covered with snow. Pinny and Victor peeped out of the shell. They were in a cave under the snow. They felt warm air coming from a hole near the shell, so they climbed into it and found themselves in a dark underground tunnel. They crept quietly along the tunnel and found a mouse in a nest of grass, curled up, fast asleep. Victor pulled his tail. Pinny tweaked his whiskers. "Wake up, mouse," she said. The mouse woke up and let them climb on his back. He took them along the tunnel, up into the apple shed, and onto a shelf where the apples are kept. The mouse stood still while Pinny and Victor slid off his back. "Thank you, mouse," said Victor. Pinny was damp and her joints were stiff. Victor carried her over to the window and stood her where the sun could warm her. Pinny looked out of the window. There was Joe with a basket. Pinny remembered that Joe came to fetch fir cones to light the fire. "Quick," said Pinny, "follow me." Pinny and Victor slid down a plank to the heap of fir cones. Joe filled the basket, and when she put it down in the fireplace, guess who was hiding inside? Of course, Pinny and Victor. When Joe went to fetch paper to lay the fire, Pinny and Victor struggled hard to get out of the basket. It wasn't easy, but luckily a big spider hiding in the basket had begun to spin a web, and one of the threads stretched right across to the fender. Victor pulled himself across, hanging from the thread. But Pinny was very daring. She walked across like a tightrope walker. They sat on the fender. Tom found them there when he brought in the coal. He put them back in their places, Pinny in her house and Victor in his boat. "It was lucky you found them," said Joe. "Something terrible might have happened."